Once upon a time, there lived an old man and an old woman who were very poor and had nothing at all to their name. And they kept getting poorer and poorer till there was nothing left to eat in the house, not even bread.
Do bake us a bun, old woman. If you scrape out the flour box and sweep out the bin, you'll have enough flour.
So the old woman scraped out the flour box and swept out the bin. She made some dough and shaped a little round bun out of it. She then lit the oven, baked the bun, and put it on the windowsill to cool. But the bun jumped out of the window and onto the bench outside, and from the bench onto the ground, and away it rolled along the road. On and on it rolled, and it met a rabbit coming toward it.
I'm gonna eat you up, little round bun.
Don't do that, Fleet Fleet. Let me sing you a song instead.
All right, let's hear it.
I was scraped from the flour box and swept from the bin and baked in the oven and cooled on the sill. I ran away from Grandpa, I ran away from Grandma, and I'll run away from you this minute I will.
And off it rolled and away. By and by it met a wolf coming toward it.
I'm gonna eat you up, little round bun.
Don't do that, Brother Wolf. Let me sing you a song instead.
All right, let's hear it.
I was scraped from the flour box and swept from the bin and baked in the oven and cooled on the sill. I ran away from Grandpa, I ran away from Grandma, and I'll run away from you this minute I will.
And away it rolled. But by and by, it met a bear coming toward it.
I'm gonna eat you up, little round bun.
Don't do that, Brother Bear. I'll sing you a song instead.
All right, let's hear it.
I scraped from the flour box and swept from the bin, baked in the oven and cooled on the sill. I ran away from Grandpa, I ran away from Grandma, and I'll run away from you this minute I will.
And off it rolled and away. By and by, it met a fox coming toward it.
Oh, I'm gonna eat you up, little bun.
Don't do that, Sister Fox. I'll sing you a song instead.
All right, let's hear it.
I was scraped from the flour box and swept from the bin and baked in the oven and cooled on the sill. I ran away from Grandpa, I ran away from Grandma, and I'll run away from you this minute I will.
Oh, sing some more, please. Don't stop. Hop onto my tongue so I can hear you better.
I was scraped from the flour box and swept from the bin.
Before it could go on, the fox opened her mouth and gobbled it up. And that was the end of the little round buns.
Once upon a time, there lived an old man and an old woman. They had no children and no one to look after them in their old age. This made them very sad indeed. One day, the old woman said to the old man,
Go to the forest, old man, and cut down a tree. We'll make a little cradle. I'll put a stick of wood in it, and I'll rock the cradle to amuse myself that way.
I don't know if that's a good idea, my dear.
but the old woman begged him again and again.
Please do this for me.
Finally, he did as she asked. He went to the forest, he cut down a tree and made a cradle out of this. The old woman put a stick of wood in the cradle and began rocking it and singing softly.
Little stick, sleep soundly do, and I'll cook some mush for you, and just enough for you to eat, and feed your hands and feet.
She went on rocking the cradle until it was evening and time to go to bed.
Good night, little stick.
On the following morning, when the old man and the old woman rose, they looked in the cradle, and lo, instead of a stick of wood, there was a little boy there. This made them so happy, words cannot say. And they now had a son, and they called him
IVASIK-TELESIK-LITTLE.
Little stick.
Telesik. Little stick grew very fast and became so handsome that the old man and the old woman could not take their eyes off of him. And one day, when Telesik was a grown lad, he said to the old man,
Make me a boat of gold and an oar of silver, father. I will catch fish and feed both mother and you.
The old man made a golden boat and a silver oar. He let the boat into the water, and Telesik went rowing and catching fish. He spent most of his time on the river. He would catch some fish and give them to the old man and old woman, and then he would go rowing again. The old woman brought him food to eat in the boat.
You must remember to row to shore only when I call you, Telesik. If you hear a stranger calling, you must row past him and away.
One day, she cooked Telesik some food and brought it to the river and called,
Telesik, little stick, come and be quick. I have brought you some food and some water to drink.
Move, golden boat. Row, silver oar. My mother is waiting for me on the shore.
He made for the shore, he pulled in, had his food and drink, and giving his boat a push with his silver oar, he made off again, catch more fish. Now, a snake heard his mother calling to Telesik. And she crawled out into the shore and called in her harsh voice.
Telesik, little stick, come and be quick. I brought you some food and some water to drink.
But Telesik was not easy to drink.
That is not my mother's voice. Move, golden boat. Row, silver oar. Carry me farther away from the shore.
And he swung his oar, and the boat moved out, and the snake waited on the shore for a while, and then crawled back. Now, after a time, Telesik's mother made him some dinner, and she took it to the river shore.
Telesik, little stick, come and be quick. I have brought you some food and some water to drink.
Move, golden boat. Row, silver oar. My mother is waiting for me on the shore.
He pulled out onto the shore, he ate and drank, he gave his mother the fish he caught, and he made off again. And the snake crawled out onto the shore and called,
Telesik, little stick, I have brought you some food and some water to drink.
Move, golden boat. Row, silver oar. Carry me farther away from the shore.
The boat moved off, and the snake, who saw that nothing would come of her trying to trick Telesik, left the river and went to the blacksmith.
Blacksmith, blacksmith, forge me a new throat. I want my throat to be as thin as that of Telesik's mother.
And the blacksmith forged a new throat, and the snake went back to the river.
Telesik, little stick, come and be quick. I have brought you some food and some water to drink.
Move, golden boat. Row, silver oar. My mother is waiting for me on the shore.
He pulled into the shore, and the snake seized him and carried him off to her house. But when they arrived,
Open the door, Olenka, little snake.
Olenka opened the door, and the snake came inside.
Olenka, little snake, heat the oven. Make it so hot that the bricks will come rolling out of it and roast Telesik for me. I'll go and invite some guests, and we'll have a feast.
So Olenka lit the oven, made it so hot that it all but fell apart.
Get on this spade, Telesik.
I don't know how to do it. You have to show me.
Just sit down on it.
When Telesik put his hand on the spade.
Like this?
No! Didn't you hear me? You must sit on it.
Telesik put his head on the spade.
Like this?
No!
Like this?
And he put his leg on the spade.
No, you fool!
Well, then, show me how to do it.
Well, there was no help for it. So she got on the spade, and Telesik seized it and thrust it in the oven and shut the oven door. And then he left the hut and climbed a tall sycamore tree and waited. Some time passed, and the snake and her guests, the dragons, came flying out.
Olenka, little snake, open the door. Olenka, little snake, where are you? Open the door. The plague on that young one. She must have gone off somewhere.
So the snake unlocked the door and let her guests in and seated them around the table. Then she took the roast out of the oven, and thinking that it was Telesik, she and her guests set to eating it. And till they were finished and they came out in the yard, lay down upon the grass.
We'll lie on the grass and roll on it, for we have made a good meal of little Telesik.
Yes, lie on the grass and roll in it, for you made a good meal of little Olenka.
What? Did you say something?
Why? Did you hear something?
What?
I did think I heard something.
I'm pretty sure I heard something.
Nothing.
As I was saying, let's lie on the grass and roll on it, for we have made a good meal of little Telesik.
Yes, lie on the grass and roll in it, for you made a good meal of little Olenka.
They looked all around, and seeing Telesik on the top of the sycamore tree, rushed to the tree and began chewing on it. They chewed as though they broke their teeth, but they could not chew through it. So they ran to the blacksmith and said,
Blacksmith, blacksmith, forge us teeth strong enough to chew through a sycamore tree.
and the blacksmith forged them teeth of metal, and they chewed away at the tree again. Now they has nearly chewed through when all of a sudden, who should come flying by but a flock of geese.
Little geese, heed my plea, to my folks carry me. At the door they will meet us, to a feast they will treat us, that we will eat and drink too and dance the night through.
Let the ones that are flying behind us help you.
The dragons gnawed away at the tree again when all of a sudden, who should come flying up but another flock of geese.
Little geese, heed my plea, to my folks carry me. At the door they will meet us, to a feast they will treat us. We will eat and drink too and dance the night through.
Oh, let the ones that are flying behind us help you!
By that time, the sycamore tree was all but chewed through, and it creaked and it swayed. Who should come flying by but another flock of geese?
Little geese, heed my plea, to my folks carry me. At the door they will meet us, to a feast they will treat us. We will eat and drink too, and then dance the night through.
Let the ones that are flying behind us help you. Honk, honk, sorry!
So there sat Telesik, and he was very sad indeed, for the tree was about to fall, and he knew he would fall with it and be killed. And all of a sudden, who should come flying up but one little young goose all by herself.
Little goose, take me, pray, off this tree and away. Little goose, heed my plea. To my folks carry me. At the door they will meet us. To a feast they will treat us. We will eat and drink too, and dance the night through.
I'm sorry, but I'm not a good flyer. I'm behind. I'm falling behind. I'm alone. I'm so tired.
Please, please do this for me.
Get on.
So tired was the poor thing that it could only fly very low, and the dragons went after it and tried to seize Telesik. But they tried very hard, but they couldn't do it, and they soon gave up. The little goose brought Telesik home, put him on a bench by the side of the house, and began walking all over the yard and picking at the grass. Telesik sat on the bench and listened to what was being said in the hut. Now, the old woman was baking pies just then. She took some out of the oven and she said,
Here's a pie for you, old man, and here's another for me.
and Telesik called from where he was sitting on the bench.
How about one for me, mother?
Nothing. The old woman took some more pies out of the oven.
Here's a pie for you, old man. Here's a pie for me.
Don't you want to give me one, mother?
What is that? Didn't I hear someone calling me, old man?
It only seems so to you.
The old woman took some more pies out of the oven.
Here is a pie for you, old man, and here is a pie for me.
Don't you want to give me one, mother?
Say what you will, but I hear someone calling me.
And she glanced out of the window, and there was Telesik sitting on the bench. Now, the old man and the old woman rushed out of the hut. They seized Telesik and they carried him inside, and they were just as glad could be. Now, the little goose was still in the yard, and the old woman saw it and said,
Oh, there's a goose out in the yard. I'll go catch it and I'll roast it for our dinner.
No, mother, don't do that. Feed it instead. For if it wasn't for the goose, I would not be with you now.
So they fed the poor goose and gave it water to drink, and they put some millet under the porch for it to eat later. And the goose felt much stronger for the food it ate, and it flew away. So, there's a little tales for you, and for me, some rolls and some honey too.
As two Cossacks walked along the steppe, they came to a tree and sat in the shade. One played the bandura while the other sang. Looking off in the distance, one Cossack said,
Uh-oh, brother.
Here comes trouble. I can see that death approaches.
Well, what of it?
She will cut us down. Let us flee.
No, brother. It is not for Cossacks to run away. And this devilish heat is so bad that you cannot run very far anyway. We will sit here. Once a mother gave birth to us on this earth, and at some time, we must also die.
If you say so, then let us sit and wait.
Death approached, and she said,
It is good that I met you wanderers. You have had enough time partying and eating, wearing silk, drinking mead and wines. Now I will sweep you off this earth with my sight. I shall surely cut off your nets.
Cut them off, if that is your desire. But please allow me, benevolent lady, to smoke a pipe before death.
Well, certainly, since you were polite enough to call me a benevolent lady, then you may have your pipe.
The Cossack lit his pipe. The tobacco was powerful and strong, and when the smoke arose from it, Death stepped back.
What a terrible stench! How can you smoke that stuff?
I'm fated to smoke it.
Well, it's a wonder that you haven't already been killed by that tobacco.
When the smoke and the stink had cleared, Death again stepped near.
You've had your smoke. Now I will take you.
Great, benevolent lady. Allow me one privilege as well. Please allow me to take some snuff before I leave this earth for always.
No, that's only fair.
The Cossack pulled out his snuff. It had been prepared with pepper and spices of all kinds of other things to make it stronger.
Oh, are you going to tell me that this is good?
It depends for whom.
Well, if it's as good as you say it is, allow me to try it.
As you wish, benevolent lady.
When Death sniffed the snuff and it bored into her nose, she sneezed mightily, choked, bent over double, and dropped her sight.
Oh, that's terrible. Terrible. It's worse than the awful smoke. How can you use that stuff?
I must accept such pain all my days because it has been sent my way. God knows I must suffer, for it is my unfortunate lot in life.
Well, if that's the case, then I will not cut you down. It's not hard to die. But if you have to go on smoking and sniffing for another 50 years, I can think of no worse punishment for your sentence.
And in this manner, the Cossacks freed themselves from an early death.
Пливе кача по тисині. Ой, пливе кача по тисині.
Мамко моя, не лай мені. Мамко моя, не лай мені.
Залаєш ми в злу годину. Ой, залаєш ми в злу годину.
Сам не знаю, де погину. Сам не знаю, де погину.
Погину я в чужім краю. Ой, погину я в чужім краю.
Хто ж ми буде брати яму? Хто ж мені буде брати яму?
Виберуть ми чужі люди. Ой, виберуть ми чужі люди.
Чи не жаль ти, мамко, буде?
Гей. Наче мені, синку, не жаль. І як же ж мені, синку, не жаль.
На моїм серцю лежать, ти на моїм серцю лежать.
Пливе кача по тисині. Ой, пливе кача по тисині.
Мамко моя, не лай мені, мамко моя, не лай мені. Мамко моя, не лай мені. Мамко моя, не лай мені.
They say rusalki are girls that died before their time. And it's never a good death. For these are young women who end their lives with broken hearts because they've been rejected by their lovers. They throw themselves into a river and drown, but their spirits live on to torment men. During the day, they swim in the rivers, dark shadows beneath the shimmering surface of the water. And at night, they emerge and sit on the riverbanks and comb their long green hair and sing in the moonlight. It is said that rusalki are more beautiful than humans and that their voices hypnotize those who hear them. Sometimes the rusalki dance in the fields or climb a tree and sing sad songs to entice men. A rusalka will hide among the branches so that she cannot be seen. Only her reflection in the water below is visible. If a man hears her singing and approaches, he sees only the reflection, not the spirit herself. When he bends to take a closer look, the rusalka jumps down from the trees onto his back and drags him down into the water, and there, she wraps her hair around his whole body and tickles him to death. There are many stories about the rusalki. This is one. There once was a young man named Alexander. All his life he had been hearing the stories about the rusalki and somehow got it in his head that he wanted to see them. It was all he could talk about or even think about, how to see a rusalki and live to tell of it. Everyone told him not to do it. They warned him of the dangers, but Alexander would just nod and say, I know, and quietly continue his scheming. Thus his desire completely possessed it. Now there was an old woman in the village who was older than anyone and knew more than anyone too, and more than anyone could ever learn in an entire lifetime. Her name was Baba Vasilga. Everyone said that she was born with a sixth sense and that she had many powers. Some called it white magic because she only used it for good. One day, Alexander went to her and told her of his desire to see a rusalka. How should I do it? He asked, what would you advise? The old woman shook her head gravely and said, no, this is a bad idea. And like everyone else, she tried to discourage the young man, recounting the stories and warning of the dangers. But this only fanned the flame of his desire. Alexander kept insisting until the old woman realized that she could not dissuade him.
Finally, she said, "Well, if you must go, then at least take this precaution. Remember, Rusalki always strike from behind. They cannot attack a Christian man from the front because he wears a cross. But if they jump onto the man's back or his shoulders, his body shields him from the cross and they can do what they wish. If you wear 2 crosses, one in front and one in back, the Rusalki will not be able to harm you." Alexander thanked the woman profusely and ran to the church to buy a second cross. The priest looked surprised. "Why a second cross?" He said, "Isn't one enough for you?" But Alexander said that there was no harm in having 2, and he flashed his money before the priest's eyes. The deal was made. Alexander did not go to the river immediately, but he waited for the full moon. That was supposed to be the best night to see Rusalki. And anyway, he reasoned in the light of the full moon, he could see better and protect himself. When the night of the full moon came at last, Alexander went to the river. As he walked, his excitement filled him and all of his senses seemed to expand. He took a deep breath and tasted the cool night air. In the moonlight, the whole earth seemed to glow with a strange blue light. As Alexander approached the river, he heard the rushing water and above it, yes, a beautiful, mournful song, sweeter than anything he had ever heard before. Then he saw her. There, sitting on the dock at the river's edge, sat a beautiful young woman clad in a white flowing gown. She was singing of lost love, and as she sang, she caressed, combed her long, dripping tresses that hung from her shoulders and down her back.
So this was a RUSALKA.
Alexander's heart quickened as he slowly crept toward the RUSALKA. Closer and closer he came until he felt he could almost reach out and touch her. And he stepped onto the dock. Creak. The RUSALKA spun around, startled. She looked at Alexander with these large, sad eyes. Strange eyes that seemed glazed over with a blue film. She smiled wanly and motioned for Alexander to come near her. Alexander could not take his eyes off the beautiful maiden. He sat beside her until she finished combing her hair. And then she took the boy by the hand and led him up the stream. Alexander stumbled along, totally entranced. The RUSALKA led the boy to a clearing in the woods not far from the river. And there 11 Rusalki danced in a circle. When they saw Alexander and his companion, they stopped
gazed at the two in there with the same sad blue eyes and mournful smiles that Alexander's Rusalka had. Then the circle opened, and Alexander's Rusalka stepped in, beckoning Alexander to come and join her in the dance. And without hesitation, the boy took the hands of two Rusalki, made the circle complete once more. The dance began slowly, stepping and dipping in time. Alexander and the 12 Rusalki moved and swayed, gradually increasing their pace. Alexander felt as though he were floating on air. He had never been so happy. His body throbbed with pleasure and excitement. And he wondered if he were dreaming. Then the circle began to spin, faster and faster. Alexander looked about and saw a white blur of the Rusalki gowns trailed through the darkness in the blue light of the moon. Oh, it felt wonderful. Alexander laughed aloud. He was in ecstasy. Suddenly, they all stopped. Alexander felt the sad blue eyes of the Rusalki upon him, and he saw that they were all glazed over with that same pale blue film. His hand shot up to his chest, where the crucifix should have been, and there were two. All the fast dancing had made both crosses flock to his chest, and now his back was unprotected. The Rusalki pounced. No one knows quite what happened next. The Rusalki did not harm Alexander, but something strange happened, to be sure. When the villagers found him the next morning, there was not a mark on his body. In fact, he was home, sleeping in his own bed. Perhaps the Rusalki carried him there, or perhaps he stumbled home on his own, but there he lay, with his two crosses nestled against his chest. They called to him. He stirred and opened his eyes, eyes that were glazed over with that pale blue film. That's all. Nothing else happened. Alexander did not sicken or lose weight. He went about his business and did all of his work just as before. But he was strange now. If spoken to, he always answered politely, but his eyes, those pale blue eyes, they seemed always to be looking past, beyond something. He sighed a lot. He sighed as though he were longing for something or someone far away. Alexander never married. He grew to be an old man, all alone, always going about quietly, always doing as he should, always looking past you. With those sad, pale blue eyes.
Long, long ago, in times before we remember and before there were stories to tell, two great rivers of Ukraine. The Dnipro and the Dunai were not rivers at all, but people. In fact, they were husband and wife, and they served in the court of the mighty prince of Kyiv. Dnipro and Dunai loved each other very much, and they were always doing things together. One day, the two attended a feast at the court of Kyiv. Many people were there, all eating, drinking, and making merry. There was every kind of food, every kind of drink, every kind of entertainment, jugglers, minstrels, singers, and tall tellers of every sort. Everyone was having a wonderful time. Toward the end of the day, though, some of the young men who had drunk too much began boasting.
I can shoot an arrow from here to the next village.
You'd be lucky to shoot past your own nose. I can shoot over a mountain.
They all laughed and teased and boasted until someone noticed that through all this, Dnipro had sat silent. So they turned to the mighty warrior.
What do you say, O great and mighty Dnipro? Have you no comment to make?
Are you willing to admit that we are your superiors?
Why should I join in this silliness? My wife, Dunai, can shoot farther than either of you.
Oh, really? We'll see about that.
Everyone insisted that their archery skills be put to the test right then and there. The whole entourage went out to the field, set up a target, and began to shoot. At first, all the men could hit the target, but as it moved further and further away, fewer and fewer remained in the competition. Finally, Dnipro was the only man left. He was about to take his leave when someone remembered what Dnipro had said about his wife.
Oh, whoa. What about tonight?
Yeah. Make her shoot too.
Yeah.
So Dnipro called his wife forward and handed her his bow.
Please, do not make me shoot. Dear husband, you know I am carrying our child, and nothing good can come from competition between the two of us.
Shoot, woman!
So Dunai took aim and shot. Her arrow hit the center of the target, splitting Dnipro's arrow in two. The target was moved back further. Dnipro's arrow hit the center, and again Dunai shot and split her husband's arrow in two. So it went until Dnipro said they needed more challenging targets. The crowd cheered and howled for more.
Whoever can shoot through my wedding ring will be the winner.
But when he shot his own arrow for the first time that day, it missed its mark. Cool. He handed the bow to his wife.
Shoot.
Dnipro.
Shoot now, woman.
Oh, my dear husband, please do not make me shoot. Nothing good can come of a competition between husband and wife.
Shoot, or you will live to regret it.
Stung by her husband's threat, Dunai took the bow in her arms and lifted it to shoot. Her hands trembled with fear as the sound of the crowd thundered in her ears and tears streamed from her eyes.
Shoot!
And so Dunai shot. Her arrow flew straight through the ring so clean it didn't even leave a scratch.
How dare you beat me?
He drew his sword and charged toward his wife. Dunai fell to her knees.
Please forgive me, my husband, and spare my life, if not for my own sake, for the sake of our child.
Dnipro stood above his wife, ready to plunge his sword into her as she pleaded for mercy.
Our child is a magical child. His arms are golden to the elbow, and his legs are silver to the knee. On his forehead is a great golden star, and on the nape of his neck is a silver spoon. Our child will grow to be a great champion, a defender of our land.
But Dnipro's rage was so great that he could not hear the words of his wife, let alone listen to reason. As Dunai reached desperately for her husband's hand, Dnipro's sword struck deep. The crowd moaned. Some began weeping. As Dunai lay bleeding, a child was born. His arms were golden to the elbow, and his legs were silver to the knee. And he had a golden star on his forehead and a silver moon in the nape of his neck. But the magical child, it did not move, and it did not breathe. He lay stillborn upon the ground. Only then did Dnipro hear the words his wife had spoken. Only then did he realize what he had done. Dnipro's anguish was so great that he could not contain it. He fell on his sword beside his dear wife, his blood flowing swiftly from his wounds as his wife's had flown swiftly from hers. On and on the blood flowed. Rivulets joined to form streams, and streams joined to form rivers. So it is that from the blood of this mighty warrior flows the river Dnipro, and from the blood of his valiant wife flows the Dunai. Today, Ukraine has 2 great rivers, but their folly destroyed their own child. The promised defender of the land, champion of Ukraine.
Once upon a time, there lived a man and his wife who had a whole house full of children, but only enough land for a rat to hop over. They worked day and night, all just to keep body and soul together. But they loved songs, and they were always singing. Some time passed, and the wife died. This was a terrible blow to the man and his children, and only sad songs sounded in the house now. Not far from them lived a great lord. One day he came to their house, and he put a purse stuffed with money on their bed.
How many children do you have?
10, sir.
Isn't that too many for a palace like yours? Let me have one of your children and you can take the purse.
Come, children. The Lord has offered me a purse full of money in return for one of you. Does anyone want to go with him? The one who does will eat white buns and sleep on feathered beds. No one wants to go with you, sir.
Oh. Well, it's up to you. But your songs keep me awake, so I'll let you have the money if you stop singing them.
So be it.
Well, he took the money, and the Lord went away. For a time, silence reigned in the house. But one day, one of the boys started singing. So sad was his song that the tears showed in his brothers' and his sisters' eyes. The poor man took the Lord's purse, and he hurried to him with it. He threw the purse on the table in front of the Lord. And he said,
I'm sorry, sir, but neither my children nor their songs are for sale.
and from that day on, the poor man's house rang with songs, sad songs and gay. And his children may still be singing today, if they haven't all starved to death.
One day, the beasts of the forest and the beasts of the field resolved to have a just ruler whom all would fear and obey. They called a meeting in order to talk it over and decide who among them was to be made Tsar. But the biggest and strongest of them having failed to appear, the whole thing came to nothing. It was then agreed that another meeting should be held, and everyone, from the smallest to the biggest of the animals, ordered to be present, that the matter in question might be settled once and for all. On the appointed day, they were all there without exception: the elephant, the lion, the tiger, the hippo, the rhino, the bear, the deer, the camel, the fox, the hare, the wild boar, the zebra, the goat, the sheep, the horse, the cow, the dog, the cat, the polecat, the gopher, the rat, the mouse, and even the ass. The first to speak was the deer.
Hear me, O lords of the forest. You who are big and strong, do not take it ill that we, who are small and humble, should have asked you to come here. We wish to make one of among you Tsar. For there is nothing this forest needs more than a ruler who is fair and just and will enforce law and order.
The elephant spoke next.
You're right. It is time that we had a Tsar. But think well, all of you. Choose wisely. I am the biggest and the strongest among you, and the natural choice for Tsar. But it is up to you to say whether you want me or not. Whatever you decide, I'll abide by.
The lion was on his feet before the elephant had finished speaking.
The elephant to be made Tsar? He is ridiculous, far too clumsy and slow. Now, I am quick and strong and handsome, too, and know how to make others obey me. So what better Tsar could you have?
He was about to go on when the fox pushed through suddenly through the circle of animals. Jumping up onto the tree stump, he said,
We all know that you, lion, and you, elephant, both want to become Tsar. And we also know that either of you would make a worthy one. So, in order to avoid a quarrel between you, we had better not vote in your presence, but remove ourselves some distance away.
the lion and the elephant stayed where they were, while the others took themselves off to a different part of the forest. Now a clamor arose. The weaker and more defenseless of the animals saying that they wanted the elephant to be Tsar, and the stronger ones insisting that the lion would make a better one. The fox, afraid to anger the lion, who had asked him to sway public opinion in his favor and had warned him that he would make him pay for it if he did not, spoke louder than any of the others in the support of the lion.
There are those among us who would vote for the elephant. A mistake, I assure you. True, he is wise and strong, and neither feeds on flesh himself, nor will let others do it, but he's clumsy and slow And knowing that he'll never be able to catch them, no foes of ours will fear him, and they will only do more mischief than ever. Vote for the lion. Everybody. He will make a perfect czar, for he's as wise as the elephant and nearly as strong, but unlike him, so quick that even the devil himself could not run away from him.
There is much in what you say, Fox. But in order that none have reason to complain, I suggest we cast lots.
A good idea.
How do we go about doing it?
It is very simple. See that hollow tree over there? Well, he who is in favor of the lion will throw a pea into it, and he who is in favor of the elephant, an acorn.
Good, that's the way to do it. Moo!
They gathered a heap of acorns and peas and mixed them together, and then the fox stood up on his hind legs and cried.
Time to vote, everyone.
A line was quickly formed, and each of the animals in turn began going up to the heap of peas and acorns, picking up an acorn or pea, depending on who it was he was voting for, and throwing it into the hollow. The beasts of prey voted for the lion, and the animals who fed on grass, berries, and roots for the elephant. Now the fox, seeing that more peas than acorns were left in the heap, which meant that the voting was going in the elephant's favor, stole up to the voters. He would wink at each as they bent over the heap, and if it was a little animal, whisper in his ear,
Vote for the lion. He'll squash you like a bug if you don't.
and all the little animals who feared to make an enemy of the lion complied. But the fox did not stop at that. Glancing behind him to see that no one was looking, he scooped up a whole handful of peas and threw them into the hollow. In the end, when the peas and acorns were counted, there proved to be an equal number of them. The bear said,
Something is wrong here, friends. We'll have to vote again and watch carefully to see that no one votes more than once.
No. We mustn't vote a second time. It isn't done. Let us rejoin the lion and the elephant and tell them that we were unable to choose between them. We can decide on the spot which one of them is to be czar.
The animals went back to the lion and the elephant and told them how the vote had gone.
My dear Mr. Lion, my dear Mr. Elephant, since no clear decision regarding you two has been reached, I propose that you run a race and that the winner be made czar.
Oh, preposterous. Not to be thought of. I cannot run fast, nor does a czar need to run fast. All that is asked of him is that he rule wisely and justly. And if one of his subjects commits an offense and runs away, he can always send another to catch him.
Oh, well, if you don't like to run, you can jump. He who jumps the higher will be made czar.
No, I will not jump either. I'm far too heavy.
Ruff, ruff! Well, then let the lion be czar.
Not that I mind, but that would not be fair. What the lion can do, I cannot do, and what I can do, he cannot do. But we could fight it out. Now, what do you say to that?
A good idea. But not now. We're all tired and hungry now. Better put it off till tomorrow morning. And we won't come watch you. The rest of us, will come later to see who won.
To this, they all agreed, and the meeting broke up. Night came, and the elephant felt sleepy. He went to the forest, leaned against an oak tree, and dozed away. Elephants always sleep standing up, for if they were to lie down, they would be unable to get up again by themselves. Now, the fox had been watching this from afar, and seeing that the elephant was asleep, ran to tell the lion about it.
Come quickly, Mr. Lion. There's no time to be lost. The elephant is asleep, and you can well get the better of him.
How can I do that? He's sure to wake if I try to kill him.
No, I don't mean for you to kill him. I have something else in mind. You see, he always leans against a tree when he sleeps. So what the two of us can do is chew through the tree The tree will fall, the elephant with it, and seeing him stretched out on the ground, the others will believe us when we say that you won the fight.
Ah, good idea. Only we'll never fell the tree before morning by ourselves. We'll only get a toothache. You must go and get someone to help us.
Away ran the fox, but he was back soon, bringing 12 wolves. They chewed away at the oak tree. They chewed and they chewed, but soon it was dawn and the tree still stood. Something had to be done, for it was getting lighter and the elephant would wake any minute. The fox thought it over, and then he called 3 bears.
Listen, Mr. Elephant, who is to be our czar, found some honey in the hollow of that oak tree yonder and told me to tell you, just before he went to sleep, to get it for him. He wants it for his breakfast. You must do as he bade you, or he will punish it.
The bears were only too glad to oblige and began climbing the tree.
Hollow's up there. Keep going, bears, higher.
The bears climbed to the very top of the tree, and lo, it creaked and groaned and went down with a crash, and it brought them down with it and killed the bears. The elephant, too, fell down. He lay on the ground, his legs up in the air, and could not move. The other animals came running up, and there was the elephant, stretched out on the ground, and the lion standing over him, and the fox a few steps away.
See how strong Mr. Lion is? Not only did he get the better of Mr. Elephant, but brought down this tree as well. Good strong tree like that. And it cracked and fell. See those 3 bears? They tried to stand up for Mr. Elephant, but Mr. Lion hurled them from him with such force that they were killed on the spot.
The animals shook with fear. And so it was that the lion became czar, and he made the wolf governor of the plains, the tiger governor of the forests, and the fox governor of the fields. The 3 governors thanked the lion and went off with him, but the other animals stood there and said,
Why should those 3 be honored so? There are many who deserve it more.
Something is very wrong indeed. I'm sure the lion got the better of the elephant by cunning, and that the fox was behind it. And of course the wolves helped the lion too to get into his good graces.
Oh, you're right. We've all been tricked. I'm certain my 3 brother bears were the ones who have brought down the tree. Paid with their lives for 2 poor things.
They did, and that's a fact. Ooh, sweet.
We'll be in trouble if anyone overhears you. Oi!
Suddenly they saw the fox coming toward them.
Why have you all gathered here? Not plotting a revolt, are you?
Oh no, we were only talking about yesterday, such a happy day.
The Lord be thanked for sending us such a wise czar and such excellent governors.
All right, then. But you are not to gather in such numbers for whatever reason. Secret meetings are forbidden by law.
From then on, the animals kept apart from one another. Those who fed on grass and roots led peaceful lives and touched no one. But the beasts of prey molested the weak and helpless and did much mischief, and in order to clear themselves of blame, declared that whatever they did not of their own free will, but because it was demanded of them. And whenever the lion asked one or the other of them to explain why they had killed a hare or some other small animal, their answer was that they had only done so because the hare had made fun of them, or else had plotted to kill them. The lion believed these lies and rewarded the governors with for their faithful service. And so it went. One day, tiring of his diet of mice and other small animals, for what else was there to be found in the fields, and eager to try chicken or goose for a change, the fox went to see the lion.
If it please your majesty, I should like to be relieved of my post of governor of the fields. It is my humble wish to be put in charge of the hen houses, for I want to protect the chickens from robbers and thieves.
Did you say chickens? But my powers do not extend that far. Chickens are birds, and birds have their own czar. Who, may I ask, are these robbers and thieves you mention?
Oh, polecats and rats. Your majesty, they keep killing hens and chickens all the time. A rooster told me about it. Actually, what he said was that everyone was laughing at your majesty for allowing such tiny creatures to rob and pillage.
All right. I will make you supervisor of the hen house.
The fox was overjoyed. He made off for the village in great haste, and as soon as it was dark, paid his charges a visit. From that day on, he did this every day, and would kill 2 or 3 chickens every time. But one day, a farmer who had been sitting in wait for him caught him red-handed in his hen house. The man seized him by the tail and gave him such a beating that it left him more dead than alive. The man tied a rope around his tail, hanged him from a fence post, and went to bed. By and by, the fox, having revived a little, began straining and tugging at the rope, but as it did not give, sank his teeth into its tail, and hard as the pain was to bear, bit it off. Once free, he took to his heels and made for the open field.
What am I going to do? How will I show myself to the others? They will refuse to obey me, and they'll laugh at me behind my back. A governor without a tail. I will never live down the shame of it. And what will I tell the lion if he asks me about my tail? Better for the man to have killed me than this. Oh well. There's nothing to be done. I'll have to live out my life somehow. I think I'll go to the hare's house. Stay there until my wounds heal. Let me in for the night, hare. I will do you a good turn too someday.
I can't let you in. There isn't room for anyone but my children in the house.
Open up, I tell you. Don't you know who I am? I am the governor of the fields and supervisor of the hen houses. The Tsar himself put me in charge of them.
The hare was frightened and opened the door, and the fox came inside, and pushing the hare's children off the bed, curled himself up on it. The hare said nothing, for he did not like to anger him. By and by, the hare went out to fetch his children some food, and the fox, who was beginning to feel very hungry by then, seized one of them and ate it up. The hare came back, and lo, one of his children was gone.
Where's my little one, Your Honor?
How dare you speak to me of your brats? I'm not their nursemaid. You have about 100 of them, so don't expect me to keep count of them. And pray, behave yourself if you don't want the Tsar to punish you.
The hare left the hut, and tears streaming from his eyes, went off to find some food for his children again. He was back soon, and lo, another of his children was gone. He said nothing to the fox about it, fed his remaining children, and went outside. He stood there and wept, and another hare, a neighbor of his, happened to pass by.
Why are you crying, dear neighbor?
How can I help it? Mr. Fox is living in my house and eating up my children. I don't dare say a word, for he friends that tell the Tsar about me.
Why don't you complain to the Tsar yourself?
Well, what good will it do? No complaint coming from the likes of us will ever reach him. No one will say a word in my defense.
The neighbor went away, and the first hare returned to his house. He opened the door, and, oh horror of horrors, every last one of his children was gone. Fearing to so much as show himself to the fox, he went back to the field, sat down on the ground, and began to cry. Now a wolf passed by.
Why are you crying, Brother Hare?
I How can I help it? The fox got into my house and ate up all my children. And I'm afraid to so much as show my face inside, for he might eat me up too.
Don't be sad. I'll come with you and drive him out. Come out of the house and leave the hare in peace.
I am a governor of the fields. Who dare speak to me so?
You should be ashamed of yourself, treating the poor hare so badly. I too am a governor, the governor of the plains, and I order you to leave his house, or I will go to the Tsar and tell him what you have done. I doubt that he will be greatly pleased.
My affairs are none of yours, wolf. So don't interfere.
The wolf, angered at having been talked to in this uncivil way, went to see the Tsar and told him what the fox had done.
He said it was none of mine or anyone else's business, and that he would do whatever he had a mind to.
I see. Send the deer with a summons to the fox to present himself at court, where he will be tried and punished.
Hearing what he was wanted for, the fox began to think of what to do. Finally, he set out for the palace, where the lion ushered him into his presence.
What is this I hear about you behaving in an unlawful manner? How dared you treat the hare so? How dared you eat up the chickens and put the blame for it on others?
Wait, I pray you, your majesty, let me speak in my defense.
Go ahead.
Your majesty, I can well imagine what the wolf, in his spite, said to you about me. But your majesty, believe me, it is he who is the culprit and not I. It was he who ate up the hare's children, and when I tried to stand up for the hare, he bit off my tail. Just see. You see what dishonor he has brought upon me? It's a fox without a tail, your majesty. How will I ever live down the shame of it?
For a minute, the lion was lost in thought.
It's regretful, of course, and I can well understand you, but don't expect me to keep you on as governor. I am putting you in charge of the palace guard instead. The wolf shall be punished as he deserves.
He sent for the wolf and himself began to think the matter over. He was not sure which of the two was the culprit, the fox or the wolf, but thought both might be lying.
One of them deserves to die, but the question is, which one? The fox is a rascal, of course, but how can I punish him when it was through his wiles that I became Tsar in the first place? Now, the wolf, I owe far less, although it's true he helped fell the oak tree. Any fool could have done as such.
So when the wolf was brought into his presence, he seized him with his paws and crushed him to death. When the other wolves learned about it, they were beside themselves with rage and thirsted for vengeance. The fox and the lion must pay, and war seemed the only way. They gathered into packs and attacked the foxes in their homes, plundering and pillaging and killing and showing no mercy to young or old. Now, this might never have had an end had not the farmers grown weary of losing their chickens, lambs, and calves and resolved to round up the thieves. They trapped the lion and caged him. And they gave the wolves a beating, which so frightened the other animals that they hid themselves wherever they could. After that, order was restored in the countryside, and they all lived in peace again.